Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory, a proud supporter of WQPT, has been serving Quad City families since 1889. Now providing live stream capabilities for viewing your loved one's funeral or memorial service at their chapel in Rock Island.
Helping your college-bound student head out for the new school year and making sure Ballet Quad Cities stays a step ahead of the pandemic in the cities. COVID-19 has simply affected everything. Businesses, schools, and organizations. There's no part of our society that has seen no impact. And let's be honest, we're seeing an even bigger impact this fall. In a moment, we'll talk about one organization that's found a way around the pandemic. But first, let's start with school and preparing for college-bound students in the midst of COVID-19. The Assistant Director of Student Services at Western Illinois University, Audrey Adamson, sat down to tell us a little bit about what we can expect in the coming weeks. What do you suggest for parents as well as students to do to prepare for the coming school year? Because let's be honest, Western Illinois Quad Cities is more of a commuter campus, not the dorm room setting. So you have a little different situation than most institutions.
Yes. So we are telling our students to start looking at their schedules, start planning ahead, and as well as those that if we have some of the younger, more traditional age students that their parents are involved in that sort of planning process as they get ready to start classes on August 24th. And for that, we do have like a new student orientation that is happening. We've moved it all virtually this year, and so students can either do it at their own pace. All the materials are online. There's videos, resources, etc., that they can go to and feel like they know what's going to be happening on campus. What can they expect? What will things look like? It has all of the traditional information as if all of the COVID-19 stuff was not happening, as well as specific information to that. And that's really where we're directing students as well. There's a very specific place on our website that has all of the most recent updates because things are ever changing to make sure they know what to expect there. And then for those students that really want to talk to somebody live in person, like we traditionally would do for new student orientation to feel ready for this semester, and this is both for those students and their support people, their parents, their significant others who want to know a little bit more before the semester starts. We are offering some live Zoom sessions on August 12th at 11 and 5 where they can get online, talk to current students, a student panel, talk to financial aid, talk to faculty about tips of feeling ready for the year. Those faculty can talk to them about all of the different formats that classes may be taking place in so they feel a little bit more comfortable because there's a lot of language happening out there, you know, formats and things.
Well, and as you pointed out, I do want to talk about that as well, is that this campus deals with the non-traditional student as much as the traditional student. And my mind is focused now on the traditional student.
Yeah.
And the leap to college is such a major milestone in a person's life. And you want to make them feel comfortable as possible. This has got to be a very difficult situation trying to do that.
It is, I think, because you don't have the traditional avenues in which to connect, like students coming to campus and experience orientation, both on our Macomb campus and here. So it just doesn't feel sometimes like things are happening. Time feels strange. Everything has that surreal sort of feel to it, even though these milestones are still taking place. And so I think we're trying to make sure that students know that we're here and available to have those individual and group conversations. And that's happening at all of the higher ed institutions across the Quad Cities. Those that are preparing for traditional students to move on to campus, like Augustana and St. Ambrose. There's a lot of other steps they have to do, as well as Macomb campus for Western. And here, that we're sending out messages via email. We're making those live Zoom sessions available. We're trying to say, hey, there's a lot of things that are still completely the same as they would be if this wasn't happening. That we have staff and faculty who are excited and ready to teach you and welcome you and engage with you to take this next step in your life experience. But at the same time, we want to make sure you're aware that these things may look a little different, and that way you become mentally and physically prepared to have that experience. But it is hard. I don't think this is new territory for everyone. Right. So that's the thing, is that no one knows exactly what they're doing. We're all just trying to do our best to connect and keep people safe at the same time.
Well, so often entry-level 100, 200 level courses generally always tended to be classroom studies and book learning. What about the hands-on, the lab work that's done? How is that going to be done during a COVID-19 pandemic?
So for lab classes, what's going to happen is generally we have to look at the space, and we decide, the university is deciding all of these spacing things regarding how far apart people need to be, how many people can be in each of the individual rooms. And then once that's determined, then we leave it to our expert faculty to sit and go, okay, how can I still deliver these same materials, get these things happening in a safe environment? So they will look to say, okay, I can only have this many people and we can only be together for this long. Individuals will be wearing masks at all times while they're on campus, and so we need to make sure that they're aware of those sort of protocols, but to still have those hands-on things that are critical for stuff like our engineering program or other things. So the faculty know what their students need to learn, but then we also understand that there are some students that maybe aren't able to attend and participate in that way with the current situation. And so we look at alternatives, whether that is some of those Zoom things or alternative ways to get that information, and maybe some of those lab things might happen at a later time.
Of course, we're at a beautiful campus, and how are you going to try to preserve the campus feel? You know, the campus experience is what so many kids want when they come to a college.
That is going to be difficult. Those are conversations that I've seen happening on listservs and groups I belong to all summer long with higher education professionals, trying to figure out, like, how do we engage students? How do we make sure they feel connected to our university?
Because we had study groups.
Yes.
You have groups and clubs and organizations. And now it's like, oh, what do we do?
So some of those things can still meet, I think, safely. So luckily we have a lot of gorgeous outdoor space. So groups, if they want to meet, and study groups in a distanced way, can definitely meet outside. We are limiting use of some of our smaller study spaces on campus because we don't want people crowded into smaller spaces, but some of the larger spaces are still available for students and faculty to reserve for different types of meeting spaces. I know a lot of our student organizations are doing outreach to individuals that maybe would want to connect with them to talk about ways they can do things in this environment, whether that is more Zoom or Google Meet things, which we're all very familiar with now. But then also, what are ways they can do things individually to connect with things that they're passionate about, you know, in terms of organizations, if there's causes that are important to them, or professional development opportunities. One great thing that's come out of this, I do a lot of career development things on campus, is that all of these resources that are online that maybe were a little bit more in-person conferences or things that were not available now are being made available, so the accessibility of a lot of things has increased. So I think if we look at some of the positives of those ways we connect, I also keep telling students the amazing skills they're learning about how to connect in this sort of way, in this sort of format, that they'll walk away, you know, that they can use the rest of their lives.
Well, it's very true. It's just very true.
Yeah.
What are you saying now to the juniors, the kids that are still thinking about applying for a college? They're entering, now they're dealing, the class of 2021, dealing with COVID at the beginning of their school year rather than the end, perhaps at the end as well, probably at the end as well. How do they plan for college right now?
To start really looking at, you know, places that seem to be a good fit for them. So they can start the same place they probably would have prior to all of this, just online, looking at university and colleges' websites, looking to see what have the programs that they're interested in, the types of other resources that they're interested in, and then start connecting with them. So for Western, we have tons of ways that you can connect virtually. There's Western Wednesdays and Discover Westerns that are all moving to a virtual format. You can go on virtual tours. So you can go to wiu.edu/visit and click on one of the virtual tours to look around both the Macomb and the Quad Cities campus. You can set up virtual meetings times with admissions counselors to ask really more specific questions about campus. And a lot of universities are doing that, ways you can engage virtually. Some are starting to offer, and Western may as well, smaller group live tours, but still keeping safety in mind for those sorts of experiences. One great thing is, even if you sign up for one of those virtual experiences, you're eligible for our $1,000 scholarship. So any student that engages with us prior with admissions for a Western Wednesday or a Discover Western, in person or virtual, gets automatically $1,000 when they join us as part of the Western family. So.
A number of the institutions in our area, I point to St. Ambrose as well as Eastern Iowa Community Colleges, are pointing out that their enrollment is staying steady, if not a little bit increased. Did that surprise you? Are you seeing kind kind of the same thing at Western, that despite all of this, the students are still coming?
Yes, I think it's something kind of certain to grab onto, maybe in an uncertain world. So a lot of people know that they want that next step of education because of the type of career potentially they want at the end of all this. This time is going to pass anyway. And so if they, commit to going to school, know that there are still amazing faculty at all of these institutions who, regardless of these barriers, are going to provide a top-notch education in some format, even though it might have to get a little creative at times. Then they can still keep moving forward with those goals. And so I think we're seeing a lot of people, initially people are like, oh, a lot of people will take a gap year, or maybe they won't, head to school. But I think we're seeing that students are like, okay, the colleges and universities and other programs out there for that next step are trying to offer an experience and will still get me there at the end, and I'll have that year under my belt, even though it looked a little different than maybe I thought it would. So I think all of us are seeing people making that commitment and recognizing that they can still proceed with their initial plans.
Our thanks to Audrey Adamson, the Assistant Director of Student Services at Western Illinois University Quad Cities. Well, let's find out what's still open, what's still available for you as you go out and about. Here's Laura Adams.
This is Out and About through August 17th. Join the virtual Bix Beiderbecke Memorial Jazz Festival from 5 to 9, August 1st. The Wienermobile visits the Freight House August 2nd and 8th, or join a painting fundraiser for the Buffalo Bill Museum. $25 a person. Reserve your space for the August 3rd event. The Figge Art Museum holds free virtual yoga classes starting August 6th. Thursday nights with Circa 21 continues. Entertainment by some of the most talented performers in the Quad Cities. Also, Broadway Backwards, a miscast cabaret on August 7th and 8th. Reserve tickets online. Six Queens for Change, a virtual event, takes place August 8th from 5 to 11, benefiting Initiatives of Change USA and the Black Box Theater. Floatzilla, the largest paddle sport festival on the nation's greatest river, the Mississippi, takes place August 15th. Sign up and get paddling. On August 15th from 9 to 2, check out a pop-up sidewalk sale at the Iron and Grain Coffee House in East Moline, or join the Quad City Symphony Orchestra to uncork the season at the Wide River Winery August 5th at 5 p.m. Join the 2020 Cruise the Canal. Tours start at 9, 11, and 1 at Block 24 in Geneseo. Or get creative for the online Quad City Arts 4th Annual Chalk Art Fest. Photos of completed work must be submitted by August 28th at 3 p.m. to Quad City Arts. For more information, visit wqpt.org.
Thank you, Laura. We want to highlight some of the local musicians who have been kept off the stage because of the pandemic. They haven't had a chance to perform some of their original works before large audiences. Well, at the Black Box Theater in Moline, we were able to feature Rebecca Kasich and Alan Morrison, a ukulele duo, which have performed some of their own works in our area. Here they are with Every Day of the Year.
Despite all the poking and prodding and pretending the other ain't every day of the year.
KSAT and Morrison at the Black Box Theater with Every Day of the Year. Ballet Quad Cities had to cancel its performances in the spring quickly because of the virus, but the dance group is also known for adding some positivity in schools, and they're still going to do that in the months ahead, even though they're not going to be able to be inside the schools. And Emily Kate Long, the Associate Artistic Director with Ballet Quad Cities, joined us to talk about how they're going to do that. How difficult has it been to be an operating ballet in a period of COVID-19?
Well, the very first stages of everything closing down were really challenging, partly because there was so much uncertainty. We had been putting a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of research. The dancers had been doing some really amazing work on Sleeping Beauty, which we would have performed at the Adler this past spring.
Because you had two major programs left to your season when it all came down. So everything stops.
We were on pause. In that respect, the performance aspect was on pause, but a lot of the other really important work that the ballet company does definitely did not stop. Our work on outreaches, even though we couldn't do them in person, didn't stop. We started putting together, little by little, different video versions of our Dance Me a Story program.
And let's talk about that, because, I mean, a lot of people may not realize to the extent that you do have outreach. I mean, you've had an ongoing program in schools all throughout the area. One of them has the impact of anti-bullying lessons. The other one is a big literature drive. Let's start with the literature drive, because it's called Dance Me a Story. It has been, and it really was a germ right now. It was just getting started to a great extent, and then all this happens.
Yes, Dance Me a Story, Exploring Literature Through Ballet is a program that it started off actually with classic literature, and a lot of it was inspired by what the ballet company was performing in a given season. It started back in 2014, so it's become a fairly well-established program, and it's really, really expanded since we started it. It has grown into this amazing partnership with several different teachers in the area who will periodically give us book recommendations. Typically we go into first and second grade classrooms, mostly second grade. And so we've done teacher-selected literature that really targets either reading goals, comprehension goals, social emotional learning goals for the schools themselves. Dex, the Heart of a Hero was one of the first stories we did that was given to us by one of the instructors in the schools. But the book that we were doing this year was one that the ballet company found called Look Where We Live, a first book of community building, and it centers around a group of friends who is traveling all throughout their neighborhood as there is a street fair going on, raising money for the library, and they learn about all of the different things that make their community work, like the library itself, the police station, the community centers, just all of the community garden, all of the different things, aspects that really make a community what it is, and how to be able to participate in their community. And then what we did was tie it into the 2020 census to underscore the importance of that being a really important way of helping out your community, a really concrete way of helping out your community.
But right now, you're not able to go inside the schools. You're not able to perform or to give these lessons. So you've made the most of technology. And what are you doing now in order to still get the message out and teach kids?
We, as you said, typically would take this into a couple of classrooms. Sometimes they're together in the gym. It would be a 30 to 45 minute presentation. So we took everything virtual. We turned one of the ballet studios into a film studio. We painted some miniature murals on the walls to give us kind of a different setting for each different story. It was a lot of me in the ballet company's costume shop. There's an apartment upstairs above the studios that we use for costume storage. It was a lot of me sitting in the closet with a blanket over my head, recording audio memos on my phone of me reading the story, and then splicing them over video, doing take after take. We got some of the professional dancers involved to do like guest readings and guest leading of the dances, and then to figure out how it was a really effective way to kind of compress without diminishing the quality or the message of the story itself.
Well, in a way, you found a different way to get the message out. That must have been somewhat fun.
It was really fun. It was challenging. There were definitely times when we would look at the video and say, oh no, that didn't work at all, like let's redo it. And then every single one, we ended up doing 6 of them in total, and every single one got better and more polished and more streamlined, and we just kept adding little touches here and there, fun things, to make each one unique.
You have more than one book, so I mean, obviously you were doing more than one story.
Yes.
But the key was to have it more than something that you would read. It has an impact on a student's life.
Yes. Yes, the idea was to make it something, even though it's a video that you can watch passively, to really try to make it as interactive as the in-person program was. So on the screen, students will see a dance leader. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's a company dancer. Artistic director Courtney Lyon made a guest appearance for one of them, which was really fun. And there's a voiceover of movement suggestions, but a lot of it is because in the live program, the students and the dancers create the danced version of the story once they've heard it read with words. They create it together, so it's a little bit different every time with every group of students. So we tried to capture that and make sure that it was clear that these were movement suggestions and that they could use their own ideas, and to make it more of a creative experience rather than too much of a follow the leader experience.
Well, and let's be honest, right now, more kids are learning at home. It's homeschooling gone amok, so to speak. So you're actually reaching out perhaps to new audiences where kids may not have gone to school, that were being homeschooled before, and you're giving this option as well. How important is that to you and for Ballet Quad Cities to be a part of the community in this way?
Well, we, particularly with this story, because the census is a thing that is happening for everyone in the entire country, it's really important for us to be able to reach every single community within our larger community, big, small, regardless of what their education circumstances are, and to really empower dancers to be student dancers, maybe people who have never danced at all, to be able to unleash a little bit of their creativity, to be able to interpret written materials in a different way. Everyone learns a little bit differently. Sometimes words on a page mean a lot to someone, and sometimes really being able to physicalize and embody what they've read leads to a totally different kind of understanding.
Well, of course, you don't have performances right now. Ballet Quad Cities is very active on its Facebook page. It's trying to reach out to the community, not just to kids, but to adults as well, fundraising, and just to keep the arts alive. How difficult has that been?
It has been challenging, but also we've made some really great strides. We were recently selected as a partner in the Iowa Cultural Trust, which will enable us to keep providing excellent dance to the state of Iowa, and we received a grant from the Illinois Humanities to help with our Dance Me a Story program, and the dancers are going to be back in the studio soon. Details are forthcoming, so viewers will want to stay tuned for that as far as time and location, but we will be getting back out into some outdoor performances with brand new choreography.
Because I was going to say, it's sad because you did have to shut down the season last season. But it's not going to stop you from having a new season coming up.
The running theme for our season this year is Dance On. through all of it. So we'll be starting with some outdoor performances, solos, duets, and original choreography, some old favorites coming back. It's going to be really exciting.
I mean, the true test is resiliency for any organization. I mean, are you pretty proud of what Ballet Quad Cities has been able to do during the last few months?
I am. I have seen over and over within the dance world so many companies canceling programming, a lot of larger companies that just don't, because of their size, possibly are not able to be quite as agile as we are as far as being able to adapt really fast and do what we need to do to keep bringing dance to the Quad Cities and, you know, beyond. Now with things being able to be on video, we have even a broader reach, which is really exciting.
And let's be honest, when it comes to support for an organization, I mean, the fabric of a community, you think of the symphony, you think of music, you think of the arts, you think of plays, you think of the ballet. Now it's more important to support to these groups than ever before.
Yeah, it's really, you know, it's a quality of life matter, truly, because you can exist, or you can really have a lot of richness in your life, a lot of ways to connect with the community. It's really a special experience to be watching dance with a group of people, no matter what size that group is, and it's really, there's a really special sense of connection and intimacy in that you don't get without that live experience. So I'm really excited that we're still able to bring live dance to the Quad Cities.
That's Emily Kate Long, Associate Artistic Director at Ballet Quad Cities. If you want to find out more about what they have to offer, just head to their website at any time. On the air, on the radio, on the web, and on your mobile device. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory, a proud supporter of WQPT, has been serving Quad City families since 1889. Now providing live stream capabilities for viewing your loved one's funeral or memorial service at their chapel in Rock Island.
Ah, the census. A special time when we count every person in each home in every neighborhood.
Do kids count?
Of course. Counting everyone in your home helps support your neighborhood by funding things like schools, hospitals, and buses. Complete the census by calling or going online. Or return your form by mail.
It's easy, secure, and most important, it's totally private.
Make your family count!
This year, make sure every child counts. Visit 2020census.gov.